Astronauts report it feels good. T-minus 25 seconds. 20 seconds and counting. T-minus 15 seconds. Guidance is internal. 12, 11, 10, 9. Ignition sequence starts. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Oh, baby, Wednesday night, Buffalo Fanatics YouTube channel, and it can only mean one thing. It's the mother effing smoke break, baby, live here with you. YouTube, Buffalo Fanatics, Z-Bot. We only got one more of these after this one until it's the regular season. Oh my good God, I can't even take it. It's here. 1 week from tomorrow, the regular season kicks off. I don't know what to do with myself. It's here. Football is here, and I know you all are as ready for it as I am. Like I said, we got this show tonight. We got a show next Wednesday. Next Wednesday will be the preview of week one. And just like that, we're off and running into the 2021-2022 season. And I am beyond stoked to share it with you this year. Before we get ahead of ourselves, let's enjoy this one. We only have 1 week left without football. And as we know, football it wears on us, man. A lot of anxiety, potential heart attacks. You know the drill. So as awful as life is without football, maybe enjoy the week without it while you have it, because it's going to be the roller coaster, as it always is, until about February, and if we're lucky, until mid-February for us Buffalo Bills. What a wild week this week was in the NFL, especially in the AFC East, and that's where we begin today. Cam Newton out as the quarterback for the New England Patriots. And not only is he out as the starter, he's out as a Patriot in general. Cam Newton cut from the New England Patriots in a move that I think shocked the entire sports world. I don't think anybody would have been shocked to hear that Mac Jones won the starting job, but everybody was shocked to hear that Cam Newton was relieved of his duties entirely as a New England Patriot. Nobody saw this coming. And now Josh Allen, at 25 years old, becomes the oldest quarterback in the AFC East. Think about that for a second. We have only had the luxury of experiencing Josh Allen with the Buffalo Bills for the last 3 seasons, and he is now the oldest quarterback in the division. A division run by Tom Brady, who, of course, is ageless, but at one point was in his 40s dominating the Bills for the New England Patriots. Flipped the switch. What seems to be the blink of an eye, our quarterback in Buffalo is now the oldest quarterback and, of course, the most experienced. And, you know, how much does that factor in? I'm sure it factors in some, but at the end of the day, Josh Allen is still a young quarterback himself, but that just speaks to what is going on in the AFC East right now and how it is completely being run by young talent. Let's look around the division. We got Josh Allen, of course, leading the charge, and then we have Tua in Miami. Is that going to switch into a Deshaun Watson move down the line here? I think it would have happened already if it was going to prior to the season, so I doubt it. But still, Tua, he's starting for his second season. Now, of course, we have Zach Wilson, the only viable quarterback for New York right now. He, of course, is going to start as a rookie, and then there's another rookie right behind him in Mac Jones. Mac Jones announced as the starter for the New England Patriots this season after Bill Belichick and New England flat out cut Cam Newton. The experience that was Cam Newton in New England was definitely one that we weren't used to, of course, having watched Tom Brady for the non-better half of the last 2 decades. And what we experienced with New England last year was definitely a welcomed experience for Bills fans. I don't even know how to sum it up, but what it was last year was exactly what we've been waiting for a very long time. And that, of course, is Tom Brady to leave the division, the Bills to get really, really good, become contenders, and all the while New England not be contenders. And that's exactly what last season was. And Bill Belichick has wasted no time trying to get back to what they were not too long ago. Obviously, it's an uphill climb, but it was inevitable that Cam Newton was not going to be the guy to get them there. Now, bringing back Cam Newton this season after the year he had last year, which was horrendous for his standards too. I mean, we're talking about a quarterback here who was in a Super Bowl. We're talking about a quarterback here who has won an MVP. Obviously, we knew that the wear on the tires was showing with Cam Newton, but perhaps not what we saw last year. Perhaps it was not what we were expecting. We thought there was going to be a bit better play out of Cam Newton. But the fact that New England brought him back this season told me that the Patriots liked what they saw enough to give him another run, especially with the team that they have right now, which is clearly not the team that they've had throughout their dynasty years. But to have him on the team throughout the duration of the offseason and to cut him just a week before the regular season was an incredibly shocking move. And it's shocking for multiple reasons. One in particular is the fact of what I had just said. Cam Newton with the New England Patriots was clearly a failed experiment, but it seemed to be an experiment that Bill Belichick and Robert Kraft were willing to try again because they brought him back. There was rumors circulating that Cam Newton wouldn't come back to New England this season. And we know that Bill Belichick brought him back because he was a clear leader in the locker room. He was the first guy in, last guy out. That's what Bill Belichick liked about Cam Newton a season ago. And in a year of straight chaos and turmoil for New England, it seemed that in that regard, he handled the situation very well. Things changed rather quickly recently here. Cam Newton with his COVID debacle, if you will. I don't even know if Bill Belichick knows what happened there. He was unvaccinated. Now, of course, Cam Newton last year got the coronavirus. It derailed New England's season. This season, he was not vaccinated. There was a snafu within the testing at the facility. And a few days later, Cam Newton no longer on the team. Now, was that the straw that broke the camel's back? Probably. But you have to think, even if that did not happen, Mac Jones was going to be the starting quarterback for New England, and deservingly so. What we've seen out of Cam Newton is just not good enough to get it done in the NFL in this day and age, especially when you look around the AFC and see the talent that is getting it done in that conference. Look in your own division, you see Josh Allen and what he did to you in game 2 last year. You think Bill Belichick wants to experience that again? That was probably one of the most embarrassing moments for Bill Belichick in his career. A team that he has throttled his entire tenure in New England. Absolutely beat the brakes off of New England in prime time last season to the point where it was almost comedic. And I had said on this show prior to all of this happening that I felt that that game was a real big moment for Bill Belichick. For that reason alone, right there. That's when he realized, man, oh man, something's got to give. And what did he do? Bill Belichick went out this offseason and spent more money than I could spend in 10 lifetimes. They did everything they possibly could in New England to try and revamp an offense that could barely get in the end zone a season ago. And when they brought Cam Newton back, I thought, listen, they're going to give him another go. Maybe things will change. Maybe he'll improve. Maybe the COVID really did get to him last year. That, of course, was the excuse circulating. Well, Cam Newton, ever since he got the coronavirus, wasn't the same. And as we know, I mean, New England did have a decent start to the season last year. Once Cam did get COVID, things did change. But as we see in this moment right here, it was just due to the fact that Cam Newton simply is not good enough. And it also comes down to the fact that Mac Jones was going to be the starter no matter what. Now, I will say along with, I think everybody, if you weren't shocked by this move, I don't know how you couldn't be. I really don't think anybody, even those who covered New England, I was listening to multiple beat reporters from Boston who flat out said no matter what intel they had from being in the locker room, conducting interviews, what have you, no one saw this coming. And you have to wonder what it was outside of Cam Newton's play to make him no longer a Patriot. And the inevitable inclusion, of course, was recently his inability to handle the COVID protocol. Now, you can look into that as much as you want, but at the end of the day, do you want your starting quarterback to be an unreliable guy? And that's what Cam Newton was this past week. But I think a lot of that is probably hearsay. What it really comes down to is, as of right now, in my personal opinion, Mac Jones has looked to be the best quarterback of that draft class thus far. Now, of course, our sample size is this big. Our sample size is the size of a grain of rice. But you can't sit here and tell me that thus far, 3 preseason games in, Mac Jones hasn't looked like the most comfortable and competent quarterback out of that rookie draft class. And of course, he was not taken nearly 1 overall. Now, plenty of football to be played here, of course. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. But I would say right in this moment, Mac Jones 100% deserves to start. And if you look around at the other rookie quarterbacks in that class, what does Mac Jones portray on the field that the others do, or what doesn't he show that the others do? Because what I've seen out of Mac Jones is a guy that fits perfectly in the New England system. He is a competent pocket passer who is a very smart, high IQ football player, exactly the type of player Bill Belichick wants on his team. Now, this experiment with Mac Jones was going to start at some point this season. I don't know if everybody thought it was going to start week 1, but here we are. And the irony here, of course, is Mac Jones facing off against Tua Tagovailoa week 1. 2 Alabama quarterbacks, 2 quarterbacks in that Alabama locker room who shared a locker room at one point. And now you have 2 starting quarterbacks in the AFC East who are recent draft picks from Alabama. The AFC East quarterback situation is a 30 for 30 in itself right now. I mean, it's incredibly young. The ceiling is seismic. Who knows what these players are going to turn out to be? Zach Wilson went from somebody nobody knew a little over a year ago to the guy that was warranted of the second overall pick. What's Zach Wilson going to be? But all I know right now is Mac Jones, in his current circumstance, is going from a coach in Nick Saban, who is the greatest college coach of all time, and he's now transitioning to being coached by the greatest NFL coach of all time. Not bad if you ask me, and it's coming from, it's going towards a player who seems to be able to absorb that type of coaching very well and execute. And if you look at the New England Patriots compared to the Jacksonville Jaguars, compared to the Chicago Bears, they are a much more sound organization. So today I'm listening to Colin Cowherd, and if you follow me on Twitter, you probably saw me tweet this, but Colin Cowherd does his record predictions for each NFL team, and he does these things called amendments, where if things happen throughout the offseason, he's allowed to change his prediction. Today, Colin Cowherd felt that Mac Jones starting for the New England Patriots this season was worthy of adding 2 additional wins to New England and their win total this season. Colin Cowherd feels as though New England is a 12-5 team, which in the current format with 17 games, it's essentially what the Bills went last season. If the Bills were to have played an extra game and lost, had they rest their starters week, now it would be 18. So all of a sudden, and it's not just Colin Cowherd, that's just my example here, but I've been hearing this all over the place within the last couple of weeks. It went from New England being, which is insane to say, somewhat of a laughingstock based on how they played last season, to now all of a sudden being considered contenders and also being considered a team that is going to be able to fight with Buffalo in the AFC East for the title. Look, Mac Jones starting for this team is not going to change my opinion, nor should it change yours, as to whether or not the Bills are going to be the top dog in the AFC East. I'll believe it when I see it. I will believe New England is capable of knocking them off and dethroning them when I see it. And based off of what I saw last season, especially game 2 against New England, there's no way you can make that argument to me right now. Now, game 1, New England gave them everything they had. And if it wasn't for a Cam Newton fumble late, Bills were losing that game. So it's tough to think that New England could be. My mic is playing a little. It's doing a little bungee jumping on me right here. Sorry about that. When you look at it, it's crazy after what we saw last season to think New England could bounce back. But I take what I hear from the opinion of New England being back. I take what I hear from the opinion of New England not being a contender, And I kind of mash it all up. And what I come to the conclusion of is I think New England is going to obviously be much better than what we saw last season. I don't think it's possible for them to be that bad, especially with all the opt-outs they had. Their defense is going to be back in full form. They added a lot of pieces in weaponry to their offense. But look, when you look at the Buffalo Bills currently and their roster and their talent and their organization, their coaching, their management, I just don't see New England lining up in this moment in time. But I think what we're seeing from Bill Belichick and Mac Jones is potentially, I don't know. I see it. I see it working. I see it working because it just seems right, doesn't it? All the other situations where rookie quarterbacks have been drafted to, there's a lot of ifs, ands, or buts. Even in Jacksonville, where Trevor Lawrence was considered to be one of the highest prospects to ever come out of college, right? Well, Urban Meyer can't seem to stay out of his own way. Just yesterday, he admitted that COVID came into play when he was cutting players, a clear violation of the NFLPA rules. He's had multiple issues within the media in his very short time here in his first year in Jacksonville. Now, is that a direct relation to Trevor Lawrence? No, but that's the situation Trevor Lawrence is in. Trevor Lawrence is also on an absolutely brutal roster in Jacksonville, a horrific offensive line. The list goes on and on. Justin Fields, similar situation. Then, of course, Zach Wilson, long way to go for the Jets before they are even close to being contenders. And Trey Lance is probably not going to start for the 49ers, nor should he. I think Jimmy Garoppolo is going to start. He should start. I think Trey Lance will see the field. And I think from what we're hearing, Trey Lance is going to get time on the field in the same way that the New Orleans Saints do it with Taysom Hill. They bring him in for gadget plays, different type of, running plays, because Trey Lance is incredibly athletic. I just don't know if he's ready to take over the starting position at quarterback in the NFL. He's a very, very raw talent. And when you have a guy like Jimmy Garoppolo, who has been to a Super Bowl, let us not forget, it's tough to jump him when you have as little experience as Trey Lance has. But then you look at Mac Jones and the situation that he is in right now, you argue is probably the best for any of those rookie quarterbacks. And of course, anytime you're talking about Bill Belichick, you're in a pretty decent position. But to bring it full circle here, when I hear that the Patriots are going to be on par with the Bills this season, I can't help but think that's funny. Because I know it's tough for us to accept the fact that the Bills are who they are now. When you go through 20 years of the Bills being perennial losers, bottom feeders, a team that could not get out of their own way, it's tough to come to the realization that they are as good as they are now. And what did we see just this past weekend against the Packers in a brief stint that the starters were on the field? Utter domination. Josh Allen didn't look like he missed a step. Emmanuel Sanders out of nowhere, first year on the team, dominant in his brief series out on the field. Gabe Davis looking like perhaps one of the greatest steals for the Bills ever. And that, of course, is in a very small sample size we saw over the weekend. This offense for Buffalo is absolutely lethal, and I don't think no matter who's starting for quarterback in New England, they're not going to be able to keep up with it. Simply not going to be able to keep up with it. Now, is New England going to be a lot better than last year like I had just alluded to? Of course. Of course. And I got to be honest, I think New England could contend for a playoff spot. There's 8 available now, or 7 available now. There's more opportunity to get into the playoffs. And in a very, very tough AFC, we'll have to see how it pans out. But I think that in this moment, New England is better than Miami, and they're clearly better than the Jets. So time will tell as this season comes up what New England winds up being. Do they stay close to what they were last year, or do they start to evolve back into a team that should be feared each and every week? But all I know is going into this season, I don't think we can look at New England the way we looked at them last year. That's for sure. And that's Mac Jones aside. I just think in this particular circumstance, knowing that Mac Jones is going to be the starter, it definitely adds a bit more fear into me as a fan of a team in the AFC East than it did knowing that Cam Newton was the starter. Cam Newton as the starter for New England, I got to be honest, it made me feel a bit relaxed knowing that that was the situation at hand. And when we watched him last year not really be able to throw the ball past 10 yards, we watched New England's offense barely able to get into the end zone. I don't think that's going to be the case with Mac Jones. But ultimately, a shocker in New England that Cam Newton is no longer a Patriot. And you have to wonder, just a handful of years ago, this is crazy, a handful of years ago, Cam Newton was in a Super Bowl and he was an MVP. And I don't think he's going to wind up on a team this year. Unless a team gets ravished with injuries and are in absolute desperation mode for a quarterback, I don't see Cam Newton being on a team this year. It's wild, but it seems remarkably true when you look at the landscape of the NFL in this current moment. 120 people in here. Wow, you guys are awesome. Clearly fired up for football. And like I said, a week from tomorrow, it opens up. Bucks, Cowboys. Gonna be an interesting one. Listen, I know how we all feel about the Cowboys, but Dak should be back. And of course, the Buccaneers are looking better than ever. They'll be back in full form to open the season up. And just the fact that that the season starts in a week has my mind absolutely blown. Absolutely blown. And I have never been so excited for a season. Last year, going into the year, we knew that Buffalo was not the same Bills. We knew that the Bills were no longer going to be fighting by the skin of their teeth to sneak into the playoffs off a catch from Tyler Boyd as time expires. We knew they were going to be contenders. Although I will say, I don't think that any of us could have imagined they were going to be as good as they were last year. And now we have that season in the books, and we can carry that into this year. And with that, I don't think we've ever had hype like this, at least in my lifetime. There was hype there last year for sure, but not like there is this year. And the fact that the Bills are opening up the season against a playoff contender in the Steelers, as opposed to opening up against Miami or New York like they typically do, then who knows? I'm very excited for that particular matchup because it's different than what we're used to seeing. And it's a full-fledged, right out of the gate dogfight that could have massive AFC implications straight through the chutes. So exciting stuff, and we're just over a week away. Amazing. Now, of course, with that said, the 53-man roster was announced, and just like that, the team is fully assembled heading into the season. Now, yesterday, there were a couple shockers that I think raised the eyebrows of a bunch of Bills fans, especially when we saw that Reed Ferguson was cut from the team. Luckily for us, I don't know anybody who doesn't like Reed Ferguson. Reed Ferguson re-signs today with Buffalo. So I think that out of all of the cuts made at One Bills Drive yesterday was the most shocking. It wound up not being a legitimate cut. And I think most people knew that right when it happened, Reed Ferguson would be back, and he is. I think one guy that I saw leave the team that shocked me the most and is not going to be coming back is Jacob Hollister. Now, what does that say about Dawson Knox? Hopefully, nothing but good things. Hopefully, that means we can expect a terrific season out of Dawson Knox, and we know the potential is there, of course. We've seen Dawson Knox pull off some crazy, crazy plays. We've also seen him drop some easy catches. So I think this is a big prove-it year for Dawson Knox, and it's nice to know that we don't rely on the tight end position like other teams do because of how talented our wide receiver room is. But I think that might speak to the fact that, even though Jacob Hollister wasn't going to be a starter, obviously, it might speak to the fact that there might be more to expect out of Dawson Knox this year than we might be used to. So love that. Awesome stuff. 53-man roster, like I said, is set. And I'm gonna pull up the cuts that were made right now to lay the landscape here as to who the Bills wound up letting go yesterday. So if we look at the cuts here, guard Jack Anderson, tight end Nate Becker, D tackle Brandon Bryant. I'm not gonna read the whole list, but the Bills wound up trimming down a decent amount of players from the team. Davis Webb is no longer with the team at quarterback. Rashad Wildgoose didn't wind up making the team. I know a lot of people were pulling for him. Bobby Hart not on the team, and I know a lot of people within the Bills fan base were not too fond of Bobby Hart. He's not going to be on the team this coming season. And then a sad one is Isaiah Hodgins. I mean, I was a fan of Isaiah Hodgins for sure. But I think when you look at the depth of the Bills locker room for the wide receiver core, it's just too good. It's just too good, and it's just too deep, and that's where you're going to find these casualties. But when I look at the roster overall, it is one solid team heading into the season. Now, on paper, to the average NFL fan, it might not jump off the page like perhaps a Cleveland might right now, or a Tampa Bay, but the Bills have an absolute killer roster heading into the season with a lot of young talent on the defensive line, which I have been incredibly impressed with, even though it's been a very short preseason. The Bills had a lot to improve upon in the line department on the defensive side of the ball. And hopefully that's the one thing I'm looking for this season most out of everything. I see a lot of you guys saying that those players on the practice squad, including Hodgins. Yes, I'm just referring to the fact that, we're talking about perhaps players getting into the rotation this season. A guy like Isaiah Hodgins probably will not be doing so. And that's simply based on the fact that, the depth at wide receiver right now is just extraordinary for Buffalo. So, but yeah, if you just look at the roster overall and compare it to the rest of the AFC East, like I said, it might, or not the AFC in general. Yes, it might not be, as eye-popping as Cleveland, who is ranked, I think, the first or second best roster in the league, but just a solid core group of guys that I think right now nobody wants a part of heading into the 2021 season. So over the past weekend here, we had an incredible event for the Buffalo Fanatics and Buffalo community as a whole. Put together a little short video here. I got to download it so I can show you guys. It's not fully complete. I got a full video coming out, but it's just a little hype video to show you what we were up to this past weekend with the Buffalo Fanatics. We had a golf tournament that was hosted by Buffalogo, who does all the merch for us here at Buffalo Fanatics. And it was also hosted by Kroom Photos. I'm sure you know him. If you don't know him by name, you know his photos for sure. Kroom Photos does a ton of great work for the Bills and individual players like, Jordan Poyer. The list goes on and on. Absolutely incredible event. And wanted to dive into it and talk to you about it because I love sharing stories like these when I get to sit down with you. And love sharing the story about Western Media Day with you and all the fun stuff that we have been doing this offseason. And this was a great way to cap it off. We absolutely had a blast. So before I dive into that, as I do each week, I got to tell you about my friends over at Manscaped. You know how much I love these guys and their new Lawnmower 4.0. Love this thing. It's their newest product, and it is their best product. If you're talking about men's grooming, you have to have the Lawnmower 4.0 in your arsenal. It's got a built-in LED light, wireless charging capabilities, a travel lock so you can take it anywhere with you, and it's got multiple functions so that you can shave any part of your body from this big old beard here to your back hair, your leg hair, whatever you got growing out of you can take care of it with the Lawnmower 4.0 from Manscaped. If you don't have it by now, what are you doing? Get over to manscaped.com. Promo code Fanatics for a special discount. Pick up that Lawnmower 4.0 with the promo code Fanatics and get that bad boy into your bathroom ASAP. Travis, yes, you can shave your toe hair with the Lawnmower 4.0. The Lawnmower does not discriminate. Any hair you need shaved off, it's going to take care of it. So this past weekend, awesome. Now, I know all of us at Buffalo Fanatics, we act like one big best friend clan, and it feels like that sometimes. We have the greatest group of dudes over at the Buffalo Fanatics, and I'm not just saying that because I'm part of it. These guys are the most genuine, fun, cool, smart dudes you'll ever meet. The wild thing is, though, none of us, at least for me, had met in person before. A lot of us live all over the country. And the shocking thing here is I know a lot of people who watch this also are big fans of the Air Raid Hour. I'm sure you love watching Tilt Money and Judge get their thing on each and every week. They have an amazing show with the Buffalo Fanatics, and the chemistry they have is off the charts. They have never met before up until this past weekend, and this was at the Buffalo Golf Tournament up in Buffalo, and I'm only an hour down the road, so it was an easy swing for me to get up there. But for the rest of these guys, it wasn't. We had Tilt Money show up all the way from out in Raleigh, Carolina. Judge lives out in Arizona. I forget where Pierre is, but he's not near Buffalo. I know that. And Clay lives up in Buffalo, Clay Troya. So him and I are really the only ones that were local in the area that were able to get up there. And we all got to get together this past weekend. And I got to tell you, it was absolutely awesome. I mean, you talk about, I never really quite understood when people like had friends from online. I always just kind of thought that was, I don't know. I mean, I never quite understood how people made friends online and maintained relationships with people that they've never met before. Yet here I was doing that for the last several years with these Fanatics guys, never really taking into consideration that we had never met. And when we did meet up this past weekend, even though it was just a couple of us, not the whole clan, but just a couple of us, the coolest part about a relationship like that is when you meet these guys in person, it's like you've known them forever. And in a way, you kind of have. You talk so much online and you interact so much. When you meet in person, it might as well not be the first time. And that was the coolest element of this past weekend. I got to meet Tilt, Judge, and Pierre all in person, and it was like we've known each other our whole lives, and we had an absolute blast. So this tournament put on by Buffalo, it was wild. It sold out in 3 days. There were, I think, 40-some teams at this golf tournament, and 4-person to a team. So there was hundreds of people at this thing. And us over at Buffalo Fanatics were the lead sponsor of the tournament. And there were a ton of people from all over the place, whether they flew in or they were right down the road, who showed up and participated. The train wreck guys were there. We were there, of course. Buffalo, obviously. D Handsome's getting on me. I'll get into that segment in a second. Don't ever play b-ball tournaments. Listen, D Handsome, for those who didn't see the video, it's on Twitter. Stevie Johnson at the tournament had a basketball court set up, and the hoop was not regulation. Now, I understand Judge shot the ball over the hoop twice, but I was hitting rim. You ever play the basketball game at the carnival? It's like impossible. That was the hoop. I don't know if the intention was to make us look like we are absolutely incapable of physical activity, but that's how it felt for sure. And that didn't help that Stevie Johnson was also serving up top shelf booze over at the basketball court. So let's just dive into the day, because as you can probably tell, I hung out with Stevie Johnson at a basketball court drinking liquor. And that's not usually how I spend my Saturday afternoon. So to set the stage for what this past weekend was, made a quick little video here, and I'm going to upload that and show you guys. There's no music on or anything, which kind of defeats the purpose of it, because it was supposed to be like a look at my mic. It's like, look at this thing. Go ahead. Yeah, see you later. No, that's fine. No, you're good, man. You're good. No. Everybody say bye. Say bye, Mike. Take care, Mike. It was great to see you. I mean, what is going on with this thing? I spent an absurd amount of money on this freaking mic and this stand. And look at this thing. I got to hold the mic up. I got a boom box. I got a wireless boom box attached to this thing on a bungee cord so that it'll stay down. I mean, it doesn't even matter. It doesn't even matter the money you spend or what you get. It's like, it's BS. John, I'm not 4 feet tall. I'm 5'11", and that's what everybody says when they're not 6 foot. Now, if I was 4 foot tall, I'd be good here. If I was 4 foot tall, I wouldn't have to put this thing on there, and it would probably, because if I don't have the boom box on it, it just hits the ground. It just hits the ground. Crazy. Oh, Rich went out and got the Cajun honey butter barbecue wings from Barbell. Oh, Richard, baby, stoked for you. I'm glad you went and tried them. For those who don't know, who haven't heard me speak on these blessings from above, the Cajun honey butter barbecue wings from Barbell, must try. Must try. Rich, glad he took my advice. Go out there and do it if you haven't already. All right, cool. Yeah, so, all right, let's get the mic to stay here. So, yeah, this past weekend, Buffalo golf tourney, it was so cool to get together with everybody from the Buffalo community. And the wild thing is everybody you're with is just a massive Bills fan. So there were teams, obviously, that, coordinated to play in the tournament. And there were like teams that wore Zubas as their as like their logo or as their uniform or whatever. There's teams who got like custom made Bills polos, and we at the Fanatics got custom made like black Buffalo Fanatics polos, and they were awesome. Shout out Pierre for getting those made. They're really nice, but it was like what felt like 100 degrees outside, and we had black on. And I was sweating my ass off all day, but it was all in good fun because we had the best time. So we played 18, and now I don't golf. And the only one who really does golf out of all of us there was Tilt Money. And boy, did he come to play. We needed him. We needed Tilt Money because absolutely nothing was going to come from my end. I'm actually so bad at golf that I didn't even bring my clubs out. I just brought my video camera out, and I was shooting footage all day to put together for some content for us, which is what I'm trying to upload here and show you in a minute. I'm going to put a full video together. And then there's Clay. Clay doesn't play, but he has bigger balls than I do. He actually brought his clubs and played, and I give him utmost respect for that because even though he doesn't golf, he went out there and took it on the chin. Pierre's been putting the work in. Now, I know Pierre, he's not he'll tell you he's not the best golfer, but I know he's been practicing, and I got to tell you, he impressed me. And then Judge, I would say I wish I had Judge's ability to just be like an average golfer, right? Because there's average golfing, which you can have fun with. If you're an average golfer, you can have fun. And then you have people who are like really, really into golf, and those people are usually not fun because they're way too into it. The average player is the perfect person to be because you can go out, you can do decent, you can have a good time, and not break your clubs in half like I do when I shoot 150 and I lose 18 balls on the first hole. So the team that won the tournament, they shot, 19 under. They shot 19 under. And the guy who I forget who it was. I didn't catch his name. But he's like, yeah, not a bad day. Yeah, he's like, oh, yeah, we played all right. And I'm like, in what world is 19 under all right? I've never shot underneath triple digits ever in my life. Ever. And these guys shot 19 under. Now, the boys over in Buffalo Fanatics 1 under. And I got to tell you, I was impressed. I was impressed, especially based on the fact that a lot of people there were taking it incredibly serious. We were crushing seltzers and having a good time and still shot 1 under. And I was remarkably impressed with the talent that we got out of a Buffalo Fanatics crew that was kind of thrown together last minute and didn't have the most amazing golf talent in the world. So at this tournament, like I said, a ton of people there, and they had some really cool things going on there. So as you went around the course, there were different stations set up. One of the stations was, I think it was I forget what hole it was, but it was Thurman Thomas's wife. Now, Thurman Thomas's wife was a collegiate golfer at, where do I forget the, why am I blanking here? She was a collegiate golfer at Oklahoma State, Oklahoma State, where she met Thurman. And that's what they met there and, got married. And she was a collegiate golfer there. Now, she was there and she was you could pay her a donation of $20 and she would drive your shot from you from the women's tee box. And the $20 went towards Thurman Thomas's donation. Foundation. So we got to meet Thurman Thomas's wife. She was super, super nice. And she lined us up perfectly. And we birdied on that hole, which was awesome. Birdied on the hole, which is awesome. She was super nice. And they were doing like a giveaway for a Thurman Thomas signed jersey, which was super cool. So you go over to the hole and she's there. She's jamming tunes. She's got her driver all set up. She's just knocking them out of the park. And then you give her $20, donate to Thurman's charity, and away you go. So that was cool. You move on to the next station, and it's a Beat the Pro station. So they had a pro golfer there, and you give him $20. And if you beat his shot, I forget what happens. He gives you double the money or something like that. But if his shot's better than yours, you can play his shot. So we had a professional golfer. He lined it up for us, like right on the green. Now I will say, Tilt Money thought he was better than the pro golfer. And I got to be honest with you, Tilt Money shot on that same hole, and it wasn't any worse than the pro golfer. So what I'm saying here is I think Tilt might be ready for the show. I think Tilt might be ready to hit the tour. And so we did wind up playing the pros shot, though, because they had a little bit better angle to get onto the green. And so that away with that we did. So then the next station, they had a dude doing a longest drive competition. And he was giving away free beer. So you just pull up. He was representing his brewery, just pouring up beer, judging the longest drive competition. And then I think Buffalo Food Slut is, I gotta look it up here. I think that is what she goes by. Yeah, Buffalo Food Slut, who's a food blogger in Buffalo. And I didn't know about her. I looked her up. She's got like 30,000 followers or something. She was a cart girl. We got to talk to her. She's a private chef, or at least she used to be. And she does work with the chef that I told you I met at the Western Media Day, who does all the cooking for Stephon Diggs and Josh Allen. So we met her. And then the icing on the cake for the whole day was Stevie Johnson. Oh my gosh. It was my first time meeting Stevie Johnson. And I don't think there's a nicer dude on the entire freaking planet. I mean, we sat and talked to him for probably 25 minutes, and just the most genuine guy. And, he's as big of a Bills fan as all of us now, which is so crazy. Now, I got to, talk to him, ask him a few questions. I asked him, I go, I know I go, like, what's it like, watching the Bills do what they did just a season ago? And he was basically saying in his own words that it was amazing to watch him, go the distance that they did, to see him come from what they were, especially when he was on the team. And he was flat out like, we deserve it as fans. That's what he said. He goes, Buffalo, nobody deserves it more. And he was very transparent in the fact that he knew what the team was when he was there. And our conversation was about the fact that no matter what was going on with the team when Stevie Johnson was on it, the fan base never wavered. It was sold out every game. It was just as loud as it is now. And that's why I think he loves Buffalo so much. That's why we hear Fitzpatrick continue to rave about Buffalo. And it was so cool to hear that from a guy who was, a part of the team, because all the guys I talk to now, for the most part, they're a part of the team now that's, really, really good. And when you talk to these guys who were not close to that, it's a whole different perspective. But to hear them take into consideration that it was more than just the play on the field, that they really respected the fans for being as loyal as we were during that period, was awesome. And to hear him, to know that he's at home rooting on the Bills like we are and for their success, I thought was super cool. Now, he talked to us about a new project that he's doing, which I think is awesome. It's kind of like a mixture of like Hard Knocks and like The Contender, if you remember that show, the boxing show with Sylvester Stallone. He's doing like a road to glory type thing with JUCO players, football players. So he's producing this show where he follows junior college football players and their rise to wherever they're trying to get to, whether that be a D1 school. And then from there, obviously the next level, trying to achieve their goals. So Stevie Johnson right now, he's producing shows, and he's got his own clothing line. Just cool to talk to the guy and see what life's like for him post wide receiver days in Buffalo. And it was funny. I got to talk to him about, being able to celebrate in the end zone now, because as we know, Why So Serious is the infamous shirt donned by Stevie Johnson in the end zone underneath of his jersey, which we all remember. And I was like, hey, do you take any credit for the players in the NFL being able to celebrate in the end zone now? He's like, but lots changed. Even though it wasn't that long ago, lots changed. But nicest dude ever. And he had a basketball court lined up, as D. Handsome alluded to earlier, just for fun. I don't really know what the significance was for it, other than the fact that the Buffalo Fanatics dudes, we all, grabbed balls and shot. I don't think we made a single shot. We didn't make a single shot, which was, rather embarrassing. But to make up for it, Stevie Johnson had this table lined up. He was signing jerseys. I got one. I wish I had it on me. I left it at home. Don't have it on me, but he was signing jerseys. He wrote it out. He goes, to King Zeba. I didn't even ask him to say that. King Zeba, which I was like, oh, love that. And signed it, and he wrote Why So Serious. So the one has to King Zeba, Stevie Johnson, and the 3 says Why So Serious, which was awesome. And then he had a lineup of like top shelf booze, like Espelone, and I didn't even see what else. But I don't know who participated in the shot taking other than me and Judge, but we took a shot of tequila with Stevie Johnson on a golf course, on a basketball court. Don't know if I'm going to wind up doing that again in my lifetime. That was definitely unique, to say the least. All right, I got this video queued up. I think this is a cool little video to kind of take you into the golf tournament this past weekend and just kind of show you a little bit of what was going on. And like I said, I have a full video coming out soon that will be on YouTube here, and Fanatics Twitter, name it, you'll find it. It'll be cool for you to watch what the event was, because it was a really, really awesome day. So here's a little trailer, sneak peek of what went down at the Buffalo Logo Golf Tourney this past weekend.
So we put this together, super last minute, just threw it together, and we sold it out in 3 days. And that's because of you guys and all the Buffalo support, especially y'all, Buffalo Fanatics. Shout out to you guys. Let's do this. Tiger! What's up, man? I got you, B.
Hashtag full send. Let's go.
Vizzy's hard seltzers, which I stole from my mother, they have antioxidants in them. So not only are we getting drunk, we are also staying healthy.
I gotta be honest, you really made it seem like you're gonna be way worse than you have been.
I've been pretty bad, so I don't know which game you've been watching.
Hey, yeah. So shout out to the Fanatics, all the Fanatics around the world, because it's not just Buffalo, but I got a special shout out for the Buffalo Fanatics.
I got a lot more work to do on that video, but that's just a little sneak peek. Stevie Johnson, man, he loves the Buffalo Fanatics, man. And Rico's interviewed him before, which is a great interview. If you haven't seen it, it's on here on YouTube. Definitely check that out. But he was just gassing us up, man. He loves it. He said it's genuine content. He loves it. It's real fans. It's a real Buffalo perspective. Love that. I love that he loved that. And I think we would all agree, me, Tilt, Judge, Pierre, the highlight of the day was 100% meeting and hanging out with Stevie Johnson. And it wasn't even based on the fact that it was, a former Bill that I always was a big fan of. It was just because of how awesome of a dude he was. And if you've heard me talk about my interviews with Bills players in the past, it's amazing how that's always the theme. Like always, they're always just awesome freaking guys. I can never get over it. Like every single one of them are always the coolest dudes, so willing and excited to talk to you. In the stuff that they do in their community or, at home or whatever, it's always well-rounded, good quality actions. I don't know. There's no better way to put it than the fact that everybody I've ever talked to within the organization is just absolutely fantastic. And even though he's a former Bill, a Bill nonetheless, and Stevie Johnson, he is no exception. He was just an absolute class act, and loved being able to spend time with him. New sponsor here at Buffalo Fanatics. I told you about him before, but if you haven't heard yet, you can see it right here in the banner. It's NordVPN. The website to visit is the BF VPN. Play a little commercial here. I keep playing your videos, but why not one more? Here is the commercial for the deal being ran over at NordVPN, courtesy of Buffalo Fanatics. What up, Buffalo Fanatics? Fanatics, Z-Bots, Z here with you live. No, not again. Come on. Man, every time I go live, my internet lags out. What's this? Z-Bot, you got to start using NordVPN for your streams. It will help speed up your internet. 2-year plan is 70% off at the bfvpn.com, and you get your first month free. Kingpin knows best. Oh, that's what I'm talking about. Z-Bot back with you with better than ever internet connection thanks to NordVPN. The best live streams use the best internet connection. That's why the Buffalo Fanatics is proud to be sponsored by NordVPN. Visit thebfpn.com to take advantage of 70% off a 2-year plan with your first month free. Boom, baby. NordVPN. I'm using it right now. It's awesome stuff. Helps with your internet connection, internet security. You name it. If you're using the web, NordVPN is a must, and you can take advantage of the awesome deal going on right now over at thebfvpn.com. You're going to get a couple months free and over 70% off multiple year membership. So, excuse me. I just guzzled water, and it's like coming up on me. Go over, check them out. The bfvpn.com, and show them some love, because they're showing us over the Fanatics love, and we absolutely love that. I want to address something real quick. I saw in the comments, somebody had said here, I don't know exactly what it was, but like, not talking about specific Bills content. Listen, if you've been watching my show for a while, you know this. You know, I'm not the guy that's going to hop on here and give you the X's and O's and the, here's who I think's going to sneak onto the 53-man roster. Listen, I am not working for PFF. I am not working for PFF, nor do I want to. I'm not an analytic mind. I'm not a football guru. What I am is a massive Bills fan who's lucky enough to be a part of this awesome culture here at Buffalo Fanatics. And I like telling you guys the stories and experiences that I have with this great group of dudes and the opportunities that I'm able to experience because of this awesome opportunity. Now, you got to remember, it's off season. We have been running for months here with the only content that we can possibly come up with is stuff that we just drum up based on storylines from the off season. And I am as excited as anybody for the season to start, simply due to the fact that when we do get on this show each week, and there's over 120 of you in here right now, and you know I appreciate every single one of you. I want you to know when the season starts up, that's all it's going to be, is nonstop Buffalo Bills football talk based on each game each week. I love nothing more than doing that. But in the offseason here, I like doing other things because it's fun. And like I had just said, I'm not going to sit here and lie to you and be somebody I'm not, talking about random BS that I know nothing about. And that includes me, maybe the Bills can pick up this guy off of Chippewa Street, and maybe he'll make the 53-man roster if we need help at the nose tackle position. Not going to be me. So I'm not going to apologize ever for doing that. And just know when you hop on here, I love that you guys join. It's a little bit different. And there's so many guys within the Fanatics who have everything that you need. If you need your film and you want to break things down and learn something, you go over and you check out Clay and the film room over there. It's awesome stuff. If you really want the nitty gritty, knows every single player in the NFL type guy, Tilt, Money, and Judge, those are your dudes. And if you want the coolest dude ever, giving you just conversation like you're your best friend, you head over and check out Rico. But that's what I love about the Buffalo Fanatics. There's something for everybody. And I got to be honest, I just love coming on here and being a fan with fellow fans. And that is the ultimate goal of Buffalo Fanatics. So that's kind of the goal during the offseason. And insanely enough, like I mentioned last week, I just started this show when the season ended last year. I haven't even had a real opportunity to do actual Bills football content with you here on the Smoke Break. And I'm getting chills right now knowing that that's just a little over a week away. So just know, as you continue to come back here on the Buffalo Fanatics YouTube and hop on with me, we are going to have an absolute kick-ass season. Win, lose, or draw, you're going to get my raw emotions every week, because like I told you last week, if you listen, I'm an insane fan who probably has some mental issues when it comes to watching the Bills, and I'm looking forward to wearing my heart on my sleeve and putting all that out on the air for you each week. And there's no better way to do it and bring it out of me than, of course, Bills football. That's what we're here for, and that's what I'm going to be delivering each and every week. But as the offseason winds down, I just want to reiterate my thanks to you guys throughout the year, because I know that, keeping up on football content when there's not actual football being played it's not easy. And you really have to love the brand and Buffalo Fanatics and the community and the team as a whole in order to be a part of this. And to know that hundreds and thousands of people tune in each week to all of our shows throughout the platform just goes to show the type of fan base that the Bills have and the type of community that we have here at Buffalo Fanatics. And, there's not enough words to put out there to thank you guys for riding out the off season with me, because that's what it is. It's the off season. And I think we had an absolute blast here during the off season. And to know that the actual year is around the corner and we can dive into post-game reaction and pre-game predictions is going to be, oh my God, I am super freaking stoked. I cannot wait. This weekend is Labor Day, and I hope you guys all have an awesome, safe, and fun Labor Day weekend. Not sure if anybody out there has got plans, maybe taking it easy, knowing that the following week, a lot of you will be over at One Bills Drive for the opener. I know that I will be. And I was going to get into this next week, but by the way, if you run into me at a game this year, come up. I want to meet all you guys. Especially those who are in here each and every week showing me love. Would love to meet as many of you as possible throughout the year. But I do know that Labor Day weekend is this weekend, and I wanted to tell everybody to have a safe and fun Labor Day weekend. I always get those two messed up. I'm heading out to Washington, the Gorge. It's about 3 hours away from Seattle. 3-day Dave Matthews concert out at the Gorge. If you don't know what the Gorge is, Google it. That's where I'll be this weekend. It is a concert venue built into the side of a mountain. There's nothing like it on the face of the planet. It is the coolest place on earth. And outside of going to a Bills game, it's probably my favorite place to go. And if you're a music person, some point in your life, get out there and see your favorite band or an act or something. There's nothing like it. It's my favorite event of the year. To know that the way it landed this year, that's this weekend. And then next weekend's Bills football. I am on absolute cloud nine right now. And I'm sure all you guys are too. So just under an hour. Appreciate you tuning in with me this week. Fun as always. And just know right around the corner, next week is going to be nothing but a full-fledged preview of Bills Steelers, along with a full week one preview. We'll go over some betting lines. Very interested in what the action is going to be on the Bills-Steelers game next week. The Bills, believe it or not, are a full touchdown favorite. That is one of the biggest spreads of the week. If you're not into gambling, that means next week, opening week, the Bills are one of the biggest favorites in the NFL over a team in the Steelers who, yes, the Bills have beaten 2 times in a row, but not by a massive margin, and have somewhat struggled on offense against these Steelers. So a pretty wide line, but it just goes to show you the hype for the Bills going into the season. So a lot of cool stuff to talk about like that. And then, of course, next week, a week from tonight, we can preview the fact that the following night, 24 hours from when this show starts, actual real life football that counts will be on. Also this week if you're big into college football like I am, that kicks off too. So enjoy that. Wisconsin. Tomorrow, insanely enough, Ohio State, Minnesota, I believe. Football is here. That's all I have to say. And I can't believe it. I'm super stoked. And I cannot freaking wait for next week as we get into the preview of the season. And then from there, we're off and running. So get ready, gear up, and enjoy your Memorial. I did it again. Your Labor Day weekend. I'll see you a week from tonight. Bills Steelers preview. Be there. Until then, enjoy the long weekend, everybody. And as always, go Bills.